Heroic to try and force us into a fourth. G2 on the defensive side of things. And Yabi investigating and calling a lot of it quiet in the apartments.
An awful lot of space here, but no flash available for a Heroic waterfall out of the apartment's position. So looks to take the fight here. Smoke at the ready and wasn't deployed. So restraint here from Hunter.
He's got a better idea for it. They concede top middle info and still stay stubborn on their setup. Hoping Heroic overthink this. Cadian will throw the smoke through. JKS confirms nothing apps.
It's long presence here. They might want to split B.
No, and the contact from Stown is going to keep these boots on the ground. Stown coming through.
He's overextended.
Trying to wrap through. Oh! Hooksy, good onto Shush. Monacy as well. Locking down the site. They can't leave.
Smoked off.
Nowhere to go. The smoke is perfect.
Back to A.
Just like a pendulum. Swinging back and forth, but everywhere they go, they lose a man. Hunter hidden in the site. Cadian none the wiser. It's JKS looking to find the launch pad for that 8th round early.
They're not clearing. They're not clearing.
They expect it's open, and Hunter connects onto Tessus. Pandemonium amongst the ranks. They don't have the time. They don't have the hope. And it's G2 to take the pistol.
5 out of 6 right now in the series so far. That's one way to get yourself a 3-0 here in the Spodek. Can they convert? Questions echo from that first half of play.
They call pistols a coin toss. 5 out of 6. And some crazy statistics of G2's pistols.
A smoke really just sealed the deal here, didn't it? Hunter can't believe he didn't connect on that first one, but they put this one in, and Heroic, well, they want to try and go back-to-back in the second round breaks. Tech-9s are plenty, a Deagle in the mix, some Util as well. Deep mid-smoke here from Monacy. He loves this play, doesn't he? Cheeky from the kid. Nobody watching the apartments right now here for G2. Just gonna have Hunter in the boiler, JKS trying to get the circle jumps if they do come on out, and they can slink past here. They don't have to fight boiler, so there's a big gap to work with. If they get pit and site control, this round's on.
It's up to JKS. Passes his first test. Pit open though, and he's going to be vulnerable to that. Smoke will block his view. 3 CTs here, trying to find an angle. There is a gap to work with. Tagged up now, it's Hunter from behind. Should have this one, dead to right, Stowncore off. 5 alive for G2, and more bodies met by Hunter. Only Tessus, now Monacy should have this one. Run on down, sprayed on down, and G2 passed this test too.
That's a very creative way to deal with a Halls pop. Allow them to take pit control, have JKS in a position where he's not going to flash, be strong on mid, and if they go through apps without clearing boiler, Hunter's already there. So this is great work from G2. That's a very common approach in the second round of play, and they're able to deal with this, but the bomb does go down. You see this here, there's no way that Stown is ready for this, and Hunter even made a step. We know this stage is going to help guys some of those.
And JKS's presence on short means you're not going to be going for that default plant. Hunter comes into pit, and happy with that one.
Yeah, they've definitely done their homework here today.
A good call out of the gates. How long will this silence be for the Heroic ranks?
Meat cleavers at the plenty here. Monacy goes for this play again. I think everybody's quite wise to his tricks here. You just have to tune into his stream to see him fine-tuning some of these little moves. Well-timed nade. Decent damage.
JKS can call for the flash at his own discretion.
This is pretty common now from G2. Surely they're ready. Yep.
Whoa, very ready.
They run that an awful lot here. That's an M4.
And he's gotten away with it. Hunter not going to go crazy on that hunt for the rebuttal. Katie made a step. Hunter heard action on B as well. It's Nico, Hooksy, side by side. Oh, an info safely found. Stown, can he get away? Nico denies.
Taking space on A.
Seeing what Monacy could do on that foul man. Oh, Tessus beheads him. And Hunter spotted out as well. This is threatening now from Heroic. Looking to recover. Trade provided. Yabi, a big one. And they know the last 2 would be spotted by Stown early in the round. A re-smoked at 20 seconds on the bomb.
Oh, and only just.
Ticking away.
5 here. I don't think they're getting this one back.
Tess is hitting the scorcher there.
Cadian as well.
Yeah.
That play, that flash in, hot for Hall's presence, shush forward, time, a question. Considering it now in the open, if he accelerates, he's got a kit.
Yabi should have this. No time now. Hooksy running around, played with his food. It's perfect from Yabi, confirms the round, does go down, as does Hooksy.
That one is going to sting. Another one of these type of rounds. These rounds that should be G2s, just against a lighter investment there. The second round of play was much more brutal, much more promising than that one, but a couple of zingers of the deagle shots there and ready for the tendencies of G2. This is it, Cadian standing out of the way of the flash. This one comes through, not blind at all, right? They've just gone and watched the demos. Hey, what do they do against the low buy round? This is exactly it, and smash. Straight in the head right there, ring around the rosy. And G2 back down to pistols here, so Heroic. A real conversation to take us to the fourth, give us some more of this action today. It's not going to be the force out of G2. Even with the loss bonus, 1900 into the next year, they think they can put together a buy into that next round of play now. Some big conversations will have to be had. There will be some omissions. There'll be light on. Like Hooksy has 4.5, so we can drop Monacy the AWP, sure, we can start having that chit chat, and they think the exact same here. But if it is a B hit from Heroic, it will be into this stack.
See how diligent they are, or if they just go in blind. Sniffing around is Cadian. Nico fires off a shot, confidence the call. Smoke, good for it, top of the head. Hooksy now dead, well adjusted, Monacy beneath him. Trying to get away, trying to get out of dodge, and does manage to evade the spray. Cadian thinks better of committing.
Yeah, they know there's 3 more there. The boost, the player burning over towards oranges, and of course Nico towards coffin. So now it's just going to be on JKS with this 5-7, and he should be bowled over here. There's nothing he can do about this one.
Yeah, but they'll make sure everything is accounted for. They know this is a round that's supposed to be theirs, and Sound shuts down the threat. Trying their luck through the smoke. Will they not clear this corner again? Shush. Good for it. So the double digits will be reached first. Been very hard to separate these two teams on Inferno. Nice find. Nico saves nothing. The deagle. The sidearm upgrade found.
Feels like a 4th map is brewing here. And remember, again, it feels like we're just touching on something that nobody can possibly measure. But that's the entire point. If G2 lose a map, it'll be the first map they've lost in Katowice, the first map they've lost this year. We don't know how they're going to respond to that. They're 9 straight right now on Inferno. We do not know what type of mental dread for somebody, especially like Nico, who has been here 3 times before and failed at this final hurdle 3 times.
Tantalizing prospect for Heroic. And a juicy nade. Abby executed by JKS. He revealed himself on the spray. How much info?
He's been left alone here. He's been left alone. Ooh, the timing. Almost overstayed his welcome there, the young gun. That would have been a freebie right back. And look at the pressure. Oh, he's heard this. Ooh. He's heard this. JKS has no idea.
Just trying to make haste towards the pit. Does get spotted out. Info absent. Oh, and Hooksy, a big frag back onto Stown. Shush trying to take him down. Damage inflicted. Shush still standing. Trying to poke and prod for a gap.
Monacy's orbs here.
Yeah, I wouldn't fancy his chances. Hoping to pull, perhaps. A bit of a distraction. Oh, Monacy! Even when he's caught out, he's too good.
What?
Looking the other way. And more for him to play with. Monacy wiping the slate clean from that first half. He's been hitting some bangers now. A prodigy in the server tonight.
What was that? What did he see?
It's not just what he saw. what he heard, what he felt.
Oh, I want to see that one again.
Just a mad reaction shot. I mean, this kid's lived nearly half of his life in Counter-Strike.
It's wild.
That's a stat. That's crazy.
And he could have been going down as a trade kill very early on in this one here. So the tug of war continues.
So you're looking away. Bang. Tessus unable to provide the frag, and Cadian obliges for another. Yeah, you'll see it again. Slow that one down. Perfect to the center of mass.
Felt like he was so overexposed there as well. I guess not. This is going to be the second time out for Heroic here. We mentioned the coach exists. He's been here before. Familiar with the grand final stage, especially in Katowice. Part of that legendary NIP, 87-0. Well, G2 on the other side, they're setting a couple of records of their own. I don't think they'll ever chase that down. Started today 19 straight. We find 21 on the trot now for G2. Want to make it 22 without dropping a single map. 6 rounds away from getting this done in 3, but Heroic, they've definitely got something to say.
Yeah, and aggression is on the menu, folks. Damage both ways. And Heroic have seen enough.
Oof. Likely able to establish there's 3 players in Banana here. Flashing in, fighting through.
Oh, good flash from Hooksy. Traces onto Shush. Spotted him out, cannot find the frag. It's Nico that's wanting more, and that's Tessus with a freebie. A huge frag to slow down this G2 roll.
G2 have to do something right now. They have hardly any nades right now to defend with. We still have a minute 12 on the clock. They have to do something proactive here. They're just going to swing one out into the fight. Hooksy. Oh, I don't think he was expecting anything there. Does grab one back. The pressure now over towards A, mounting.
Oh, it's on Monacy. And Tessus takes the shot. They're running
Apartments!
down. Does get in. Apartments doesn't find him either. And Yabi just gets away from JKS. This is all hanging in the balance. Cadian, has he slipped the net?
They don't know he's here. They don't know at all.
He's calling for his boys. He's going to get these frags.
Dead to rights.
Oh, they're going to be so mad. Hooksy, a passing glance. And Cadian reveals himself. Now the trade is... Oh! Hunter loses his head, and Cadian loves that one.
Shakes that one off. That was pressure. That was pressure right there. Making a play to win them around right here, and that is 11. The save has to be on for Monacy and JKS. But so does the hunt, so does the pressure. This isn't going to stop just yet. Take a look, constricting any movements here. Yabi, he's already up close and personal.
They could lose it all. Fighting to defend their right to bear arms in round 22.
Down can molly this pit position. They can wait for this. There's no rush.
Oh, that molly. Destined for glory. JKS forced wide. Prime picking. Zoe defends. Takes down Yabi. Stown not brave enough to try again. Goes late, and JKS holds on.
Important to save this rifle here. Not a whole lot of cash right now for G2 to work with. They should probably take a timeout of their own right now to have this conversation, because financial squalor, it's in play here. And this banana biff, there was so much utility used on both sides of the server there. I think we had hardly anything for either of them to work with, and we had a minute and 10 left on the clock. But that one from Cadian, that's a captain's round right there. You can see, understanding the pressure that they're applying right here. It will just be one saved AWP, one M4, and we've seen this one before. Cadian on the log, sits him down.
In the head-to-head. Too quick for Monacy. Cadian, a big opening. Hunter trying to weasel past them as it ships in the night. They are through. And Hunter doing crazy things! The double kill! Gives G2 a chance. A little bit of light at the end of the tunnel.
Wait, hold up. Look at Stown. Look at how much space he has.
They can't rotate back.
All this space is taken here. I don't think they'll be ready for this. There's no way. Hooksy clears tight.
No way.
They can smoke off CT here. Shush has one available. This is looking great. Hooksy into the jaws.
Hook, line, and sinker. Threat neutralized. The Stown extends. Catches JKS. Long-range pickings. That is gonna be 12. And Yabi wants to take it all away. Nico trying to maintain his M4. It is the finest of margins that can determine these rounds, and so holding on to this M4 would be welcome.
What a moment for the Heroic players to step up with some massive plays here. Cadian's moves, downs in the back-to-back. I know it was against a lighter buy, but they're in trouble, and trouble comes Nico's way. His name in Katowice has been Yabi, the trouble for everybody, the tippy top of the stats, and he'll just get a nice clean one there to close things out. This is now a 2-round lead that Heroic have accrued here, and in that washing machine, that's where you're going to find yourself if you are a bit of a G2 fan. This was great from Hunter, but he was on his own, and as they scampered back, he gets this double kill. They don't commit. They have all this space, but they don't know. They know that JKS is still alive. They don't know where he is. Is he B? Is he pit? Well, they assumed he was hunkering down, and they didn't need to worry because Stown was ready to clown, and this is massive now for the Danes.
And that conversation rears its ugly head again. Has this undefeated G2 squadron on their run to the Katowice Grand Finals met their match on Inferno?
Huge gap in this here. They're just going to waltz into the B-bomb site. There's no reason not to.
No one there.
Yeah, this is a whole bunch of these missed smokes. We've seen this throughout the playoff stage. You can see that defines the pressure. Nico's footsteps heard. He's about to get a rude shock.
Yeah, that smoke implies he has no idea. He's down, jumps into the jaws of Nico. A perfect frag, takes him down, and the rest, I think, is already said and done.
And this map might be too. Heroic have found a different gear. They found another level right now. We're never going to count them out of this series. It didn't matter that G2 had that 2-0 start.
But yeah, the question you raised, an interesting question, a conundrum. Has G2 forgotten what losing feels like? Hooksy. On to Stown, a nice weapon upgrade if he's brave. There's still a couple of those investigating Heroic members. They want to take some stuff away. The boost, though, should have everything to say. Lovely from JKS. Likely draw the line in the sand there. Up to 13, 3-round lead. Only 3 required to secure Ancient.
This is the type of game, if you're G2, we don't know how the rest of these maps are going to play out. That's assuming we make it a little bit further, but you reflect on this will be in your absolute nightmares. You return to the second round of play in this map, running up mid into a full eco, giving it away, allowing Heroic to go on a streak of 6 rounds. They set up their CT side there. That is where Heroic were able to get their lion's share. Just 2 more in sporadic fashion. And another timeout here from G2. Hooksy can drop, the buy is available, but they're starting to come into problems now. They're going to have to dig deep here if they want to ward away Heroic and get this one done in 3.
I mean, there is something quite poetic about it being done in 3, considering the history.
Honestly, only 8 kills to his name thus far. Hasn't been able to have the most amount of impact in this game. The youngest on the stage here.
Let's get this party started. As Cadian looks to lead with the AWP in his hands this round. Bomb on his back and a boost established. The crossfire's leaning 3 towards A.
Yeah, if we zoom out here, it makes a lot of... Hold up a second. Let's zoom in for a moment. Yabi immediately, minute 30 on the clock, has so much space to apply pressure, but not only that, if you try and rotate back from that long side into sight, he will lop your head off every day of the week here. So this smoke would normally reposition a long player, but Hooksy will hang around. He has Hunter forward of it. He has 2 teammates over towards that porch side as well. Very fortunate here that he hasn't rotated into the jaws of Yabi. They put the faith in Nico again. Last round towards B. Lost track of things. 60 points of health, back of the site, only a smoke, pressure coming his way. Surely he's going to be screaming. He can hear these footsteps, and long smoke again.
If Yabi can get away. Oh, Hunter strafes to his demise. Trade from Monacy denied. Heroic meet Hooksy. 1 back. Advantage held. Nico trying to play around the gaps, down aware. A re-smoke CT, but everyone that meets Tesses is bested. Nico back to the side, trying to hold on for everything he's worth. but the round converted.
And masterfully done here. All of those little details of pulling out the information. So Nico at that point, banana presence, they've got car, I need help, somebody rotate. Well, if we want information, we have to look somewhere. And they denied that long side. Hunter was ahead of the smoke, he had to play first. Steps into the jaws, loses his life. They feed again, m0NESY. Another death in that column. And now 14 for Heroic now. The loss bonus, only 2,900 into that next round of play. It feels like G2 are going to have to take a partial investment here. And then they're going to have to try and run it 5 straight to get to overtime. Heroic are back in business.
JKS trying to hold on to the rifle just in time. We're sent back to spawn, but as we've highlighted, Heroic with the opportunity to disrupt.
This is the conversation right now if you're G2. JKS can drop a rifle, m0NESY and Hunter can buy their own. HooXi into an MP9. But Util is going to be not full across the board, and we know just how much is required here for the banana control. Nico, at least he's got a molly of smoke. They're going to start 3 towards B, so they can really stretch that with Hunter's presence here as well. But this is fast. They're rushing MAC-10s. They're not going to stop. This is the uppercut.
They're looking to knock him out. Knock him for 6. Just charging in. The double. Overlooked, perhaps, is HooXi. That's the bomb, but only the one. Heroic. As G2 put everything on the line, it's up to m0NESY and JKS to kick up a fuss.
What a call.
I mean, come on, to charge straight up the guts of Banana.
That's knocked him out here. I spoke about the finances, the idea that they took that type of buy. They hedged 3 towards B, 15 regardless. And again, it's the max loss bonus, sure, but look at this. They just melt. They don't look for HooXi. That doesn't matter. They don't need him. Shush. Massive stuff from him. He's been quiet throughout this one, and the frustration's starting to mount. Take that one into the break, boys.
The flash combination as well. You saw that first death for G2. You were blind in the Molotov and being rushed on.
This is the grit that Heroic have earned, have grown into. They've been the enemy of the state here in the Counter-Strike world over the last couple of years, but there's one thing that you can't argue with, there's one thing that you can't deny, and that's winning. And if they want to change that conversation, another trophy here, you throw that one on top of the 4 finals. You talk about the major final. This team, they've been beaten down, not just in the server.
G2, 5 deaths away from tasting defeat for the first time here in Katowice. Nico still happy to bring the fight to Banana. Heroic, they were already posturing. m0NESY and JKS have not been able to keep a lid on their attempts into A. No time like the present. m0NESY confirms. Body's there, great nade, lots of damage. m0NESY built upon it. Damage inflicted onto him. Will slink back into the site with the man advantage. Yabi hoping he can catch him on the cross back, a big frag back. Claws Heroic into the A site. Hunter will take the space. And HooXi quaking in his boots, 12 HP, what's the man to do? Warding on the cross, good damage into Shush. Somehow still alive and kicking. As they will occupy the CT spawn. 40 seconds, Heroic. Take a moment, cut noise. Seeds of doubt sown as HooXi's found. "20 seconds. Hunter, this cut of noise has got him nervous, apprehensive. 19 seconds though. There is grounds that G2 can destabilize if they can find that bomb carrier. Acadian being escorted into the site now. These frags are worth everything for G2. Both filling the feed, JKS and Hunter. He can't plant and he can't win. As Hunter and JKS say we play again.
Oh, you got to take a question mark about some of these moves from G2. m0NESY in the site, pinned, happy to step across, gets taken out. HooXi as well, trying to jump, thinking he can make that leap on 12 points of health here. Given over a couple of gifts. Heroic I feel like it's only going to be a matter of time before they get this one done, holding on by their fingertips right now. It's that combo of Hunter and JKS, the safest pair of hands in the server here.
42 frags between those two from different corners of the globe, united in a common goal, and so close to glory. But every good story has your hero start to doubt, start to question. The path to glory is never easy. And Heroic find their voice in the Hall of Heroes just in time.
It's just going to be a B pounce here, and this B bomb site, it's been rough. It's been more than rough. They're pushing in.
Eco, so blind, perfect flashes. The beginning, perhaps of the end, as Shush leaps into Hooksie's brain with that MAC-10. Hopeless. On the retake, G2. Try as hard as they might, Shush fighting tooth and nail to do what no team has done before in Kato. Records may have been made. It's Heroic that will stop them in their tracks. Only Modesty and Heroic show life in this grand final.
Heroic by name, Heroic by nature, taking down the undefeatable right here. Now they know what it feels like to lose. And is that the Danes getting themselves back in this series? A Herculean effort. They haven't given up just yet. They're not done. Cadian won't allow it.
Gets to kill the first man, and the second and the third, lined up
So the story shakes down like this. Everything's looking fine for G2, as it might when you're ahead. You come into the tournament red hot, all that good stuff. And then Heroic had a change of plans. They weren't ready to let this one go on the third map of Inferno, so they decided to win it themselves, which does set us up for a fourth. Again, this is a best of 5, so there will just be a few extra minutes here. Perhaps we let these guys eat, because there was a lot of eating going on in the server.
A little bit of an extended break now.
A little bit.
Exactly. Just give them time to breathe, you know. They all time to breathe. Look, if you were to ask me, how does Hot Streak Heroic looks like, I would show you the last 3 or 4 rounds of this Inferno game. Because I feel like we've finally peeked behind the curtains of pressure, the whole consequence, the moment, the stage, whatever word you want to use. This wasn't the real Heroic. I feel like we've peered into the abyss towards the end. This is what they do, this is how they play, and this is the highest level we've seen them so far in the grand final.
They've been stopped, Yanko.
Yeah, I mean, the streak finally ends. I don't think G2 cares for it too much. I mean, they're here to win the tournament. The streak has to end at some point. But the worrying thing is some of the things that we didn't see so far from them, but were G2, you know, standards over the course of time, they crept up in this Inferno game, right? Like winning a pistol, losing to a complete eco in the second round on T side, then in the second half, again, losing to pistols too. So G2 is a team that's incredibly hard to stop when they gain momentum, and Heroic was able to win those crucial rounds early on to deny them just that.
And I look at Inferno, and I feel like we still got the same sort of tenacity, the same sort of vibe from G2, but albeit the shortcomings were there, Maniac.
Yeah, listen, the first half is a very dangerous repetition of what map 1 and 2 were for Heroic. If you're a fan of Heroic, you see them take off. Was it 7-1, 8-1? You talk about this ridiculous pistol round they win. But the problem is G2 starts creeping in again, and they regain some control. And at this point, we're in the green room thinking, well, this has been a good day, guys. Everybody 3-0. That is it. G2 is going to close it. And we didn't see this bounce back coming from Heroic.
Yeah, I mean, this was one of the rounds where G2, you need to look for the money on Heroic, right? Like, they're out of money. If they lose this round, they have to eco, and G2 can really gain a lot of momentum. They're in a 3v4 situation, but as G2 tends to do in this tournament, they're going to find a way back into the round slowly but surely. You know, Monesi aware of the potential flank.
Yeah, the punish here on Yabi was very, very telling, because Heroic at that point were trying to play a little bit faster than the music, and G2 is very aptly slowing down the pace. What they don't know, what they don't suspect, is that there are actually 2 different defenders on the A side, and unfortunately for G2, time is about to be their main enemy.
And it's so strange because they do the flash, and JKS, as he's swinging, it feels like he catches a glimpse of the player, but I don't know if it's, you know, the fast checking or 4v3 or whatever it might be. You know, you can see here, you can see clearly on the right of his screen, so it must be a 4-3 sort of a resolution, unaware of another player in the side. Monesi also going super deep for the plant. That was also a little bit unnecessary. And here, you know, they don't have enough time to plant, even though they get the kills, and that's just a super frustrating round for G2 to lose.
Checking into Heartbreak Hotel, Maniac?
Heartbreak Hotel.
Is that what that looks like?
One. Yeah, this one, yeah. I think that's a single room. It's not the superior room, it's a single room.
Oh, yes.
The Heartbreak Hotel.
And you know who's the main occupant of that room?
Who's that?
It's Nico. Like, he had a pretty good, he had a great first half. He was finding openings, he was finding impact in Banana. Second half, only 2 kills. And, you know, Heroic was just winning every Banana fight. They were having a lot of success on the B bomb side. I mean, Nico is so confused to play retake on B that he does, you know, the smoke for pool has a gap, and Stone just sneaks through it, right, catches them off guard, and wins the round just solely based on individual play.
And Yanko talks about confusion. We can roll round 24 because that's what it's about. Again, I said, we saw Heroic doing their best Counter-Strike at the end of that map, and this is such a great example here. We see with 50 seconds, Heroic is about applying pressure everywhere on the map. It's very complicated for G2 to know what's going on. Yabi and Tezis are just ready to punish an information, and here comes the information play from Hunter with 40 seconds left. The crossfire is absolutely beautiful, and this only happens because pressure was put on the B side, and Heroic had traumatized Nico a couple of times. And here, look at this. Look at the mastery from Heroic. They know they have to wait for the smoke, double angle, they open up their line of sight, and this is it. This is 14. What this one also doesn't tell us is that B had been the opportunity for Heroic 2 or 3 times in a row, and they built this based on that information.
How many times did we see Heroic just find their way through the back lines, as it cause a little chaos with the rotation, and then before you know it, there's a guy in library just, you know, chomping at your bit, basically?
Yeah, it was obvious they were very, very well prepared. They had a lot of good reads in the mid round as well. Yeah.
Yeah, Air Force aim high, head-to-head, just right there. Stown Tessis makes...
Glad to see Tessis come out, because I called him out after map 1 and 2. I thought he wasn't exactly doing what had brought Heroic to this point in here in the grand final, and he's been stamping up massively. On the CT side, one of the main reasons why Heroic is pulling ahead is because of his massive B defense as well. Hell, there you go, highlight reel. You ask it, you get it. Banana plays multi-kills from Tessis, always knowing when to fight, when to stay a little bit alive, playing behind that box the way it happens here. He stepped up. This was the Tessis that we hadn't seen throughout this entire grand final, and he's now come to play.
Yanko, this is the test Heroic needed desperately. You know, not just that it was all reliant on him to win this whole series, but to have been somewhat not there throughout the duration of the series so far.
Absolutely, and you go back to that Game and Glory documentary from Rio, and you can see, you know, where Kaden is like just asking for a little bit more calm, a little bit more poise, and just a little bit more in terms of communication for Heroic. I mean, they stay alive. That's the most important thing. They have this extended break where G2 gets to sit on it a little bit, and I think for G2, if this is a new G2, right, if you're stepping into the G2 era, now is where you prove it. So you lost your map that you had a tremendous win streak on, you were 2-0 up, you even had a good first half, even the second half, win the pistol, convert the second round, right? But then it slips away, sort of, right? And then now you're going into two maps that are not your home turf, probably. They're not Heroic's best maps either. But, you know, this is where maybe you don't have as much confidence. You haven't played them as much in this tournament like you did, for example, Nuke and Inferno.
Yeah, we do get away from the normie maps, as Chad likes to call them. But before we do that, we absolutely heard from the teams backstage.
I just managed to catch up with Cadian from Heroic, and I will say this. He knows that these games have been close. He knows that they had a chance to get the job done. Now we're moving into the ground of Ancient, and for Heroic, they haven't played it so far at this tournament. We have seen G2 play it, and that has given the edge to G2 in a sense of they did a very good game against FaZe, but Cadian was ready. He likes the way the beta went built, and he said mainly the things they were losing out on the previous maps was G2 winning rounds they really shouldn't have. He's confident. They feel better now. Getting this one about moves, they've got a great chance of it. It's now about getting the job done, and can they make it possible? That's going to be a really hard reverse sweep. Let's see.
Yeah, for Ancient, you know, to maybe even see the series come this way or this far, okay, yeah, we probably wouldn't have said that 2 hours ago, but we go to Ancient now. Yanko, tell me what to look for on the G2 side.
You just want to see them play solid CS like they have throughout this tournament, right? You want to see how they mentally come into this next map, because Inferno, they lost it a little bit more than Heroic wanted. Heroic played a great T-side, that stands, like, but I think G2, if they were able to ride that momentum a little bit better, they allowed Heroic to get back into the game, and once they did that, they were unstoppable.
Yeah, and it does feel like they're going to start on the T side, if I do get ahead of myself, I believe on Ancient, right? And they've been problem solving really well. G2's T side has been very good at figuring out solutions, and even in the hardships and hard times, they've always had a couple of moments, couple of brilliances. I'll be more worried on the CT side, because this is where they just had the draw. That was it. The CT side of Inferno is where they couldn't figure it out, and they got into their own heads. They started having gamble plays, leaving Nico alone, getting punished. I don't think that's going to be the case. And because they're on the T side, I don't expect G2 to fall into the same trap that we've seen right here at the end of Inferno.
And the safest pairs of hands for G2 in this final have been Hunter and JKS. So if I can, I'm putting the game in their hands. You know, I'm telling the rest of the guys sort of, you know, you don't want to tell someone don't go for plays.
Of course.
Don't do this, especially someone like Nico and Monesi. You know, that's their play style and that's where they do most of their work. But, you know, you want to try to balance it out. You also don't want to start a lot of rounds with a disadvantage right in the first 15, 20 seconds. So it's important for G2 to find that balance and to understand what's the best way for them to win this final.
Yeah, playing 45 is never really a thing. I mean, you can go for these sort of egregious peaks sometimes, and maybe it works out, maybe it wins your team the round, but when it doesn't, it's hurtful, Maniac.
And you say egregious peaks, and I don't know why it gets Monesi in my mind.
Sometimes.
I've seen him a couple of times in this grand final being caught off guard, but being saved by his incredible skill. And I still think on the G2 camp, he's one of the players that hasn't really been quite in the game, quite really fully engaged. He's had that moment towards the end of Mirage, and there was no doubt about it. But besides that, he's been a little bit aside from the game, behind in the rhythm, saved by a couple of flicks, but far away from the Monesi that we praise usually.
And I'm curious to see, what we saw on Inferno was the lurkers from Heroic on the T side were doing a lot of work. They were pretty aggressive, right? You saw this round where Stahl pushes through the smoke, catches them off guard on B. Yabi just going straight up into the corner in A-App. So I'm wondering if that was a specific Inferno plan or something they see generally with G2, right? If they're going to go for similar plays on T side of Ancient, because if they're able to pull that off, then it's very difficult for G2 to get reads.
Do you feel like this was something prepared? Because I feel like the lures that you're talking about, the aggression has come up with the level of Heroic going up, increasing and increasing. I feel like whenever they caught that confidence, you started seeing people taking more risks. Yabi going straight from duels, from the app position. Suddenly Stone is crossing that smoke and leaning towards the pool side of the B side. I feel like they kind of caught on fire, and then they started doing what they're supposed to. Like, you need to have individuals finding some of the gaps and taking some of the risks. That's how you win a game, and that's what they weren't doing in map 1 and 2.
Well, also there's 2-0 down on G2's
Might as well go for
right,
it.
in one of the best maps. You know, you might as well go for it, go out with a bang, even if you lose, right? But it paid off. They had some really good rounds, and now they're still in it. Right now, the ball is in G2's court. How are they going to respond?
Yeah, this is sort of like a G2.
This is Heroic's pick as well, that we're going
Yeah.
to Ancient.
This is a G2 game to lose right now at this point. Well, I say that because Heroic just picked up their first map in this series, taking us on into the 4th. We go into a little bit of Ancient. I'm not sure that we're going backstage, but I do know that we'll be back shortly.
Now between the maps, everyone's getting their drinks, their snacks, they're getting ready, and we're going to have a look around and see which some of these teams are going to get most support, as we are now in a situation where Heroic have got themselves a map. You, sir, you think G2 are going to come back and win?
Of course.
Of course, he believes. Da-da-da. Sir, who do you think is going to win the whole tournament? Do you think G2 is going to get it now?
Yes, that's pretty obvious that G2 will win.
Pretty obvious. You have no hope in Heroic?
No.
No? Okay. No hope. 16-0, he's saying. No love, no hope for Heroic in that one. We'll keep it moving. What we're going to do is going to have a look around. We're going to go downstairs. We're going to go check out the expo in some more detail. Plenty of people coming down here. I'm going to keep on rolling and running. Da-da-da. Da-da-da. Here we go. So down here, you can see all of these people walking in and out. You've got some of our StarCraft champions. Hello, sir. Yeah. Finals now, right?
Yeah.
Heroic got a map. Are you a G2 or Heroic fan?
I'm a G2 army.
Oh, okay. You confident they're going to win Ancient?
Again, please. I'm not really good at English.
Win Ancient?
I don't know. I'm not into really CS:GO. I'm a better LOL, League of Legends fan.
But you still love G2 overall. That's what it's all about. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Enjoy. There you go. Fans from all games in there. Hello, mate. Laughing away. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
You having a good time?
Yeah, absolutely. I hope that G2 will finish as soon as possible because I've got train like in 2 hours. So I really hope that Ancient will go our way. So yeah.
He has a train to get, you know, so we're very tight on time. So maybe if G2 win, that'll help him out. I'm pointing out down here, we got all the StarCraft 2 winners of old. We got our Counter-Strike CSGO and 1.6 ones on the side at the same time. We roll down this hall. We're going to go and check and see who's still around. Now, the arena's obviously packed out. That's where the main set of people are. And we do get to enjoy all of that glorious Counter-Strike action. Who else have we got here? Da-da-da. We keep running, we keep going. Oh, we've left the hustle and bustle of it all. This guy's got an Ent shirt on. Mr. Ent shirt, I see you packing up. Who do you think's about to win?